Hi, I'm going to be making a social media card game bot that two users can interact with. I'll be using the open protocol platform of nostr, the hope being that by making fun bots you can encourage more social activity on social media platforms. Here is the repo of the library I'm going to be using. And here we've got a list of all the features that it implements, and it's got some nice examples to get us started. Now, first of all, I'm going to be making a simple fortune telling rune casting app, and for that I'll merely be needing to listen to mentions and then reply to the user. So if we look in the examples folder, we've got a monitor mentions script. So then here's my simple rune casting script. I've got a URL where my images of runes are hosted. Then I've got an array of all the various rune options and a data structure which holds the name of the runes and each one of their meanings. And finally, a simple function that gets a random rune and then returns a string of the name, the URL of the image, and the meaning. Get rune. And there we have an example string that I would be returning to a user. So this is the actual bot. I've taken the example from the repo, I've added a few more endpoints, and then I've fleshed out the callback function. I consume the message, and then I get the rune, and then I make a reply message. So now my script is listening for mentions. And if I just use my personal account, I can get a Rune Cast. There we go. Okay, so now I want to do something a little bit more challenging. I want to make a card game bot that two players can interact with. I'm going to implement the game Tarok, which is a simple card game where players have to chase the suit that the other player played. Now, the state of the game needs to persist over time, so I am using JSON files to store the game state, and the game will be played by passing commands. Here is my help string: /start /join play fold hand state winner list help, and a little blurb displaying the game. So what this script is doing is it's consuming a text string and it's pulling out the command as well as any appropriate arguments. I'm going to play this, and here's my game ID and here's my hand. So I've now joined the game. I'm going to play the card Queen of Clubs. So play A. I pass the command fold and I get an acknowledgement. Throughout this game I've also had this extra array. With a two-player game there might be a response for you playing your cards, but there'll also probably be a message that needs to get sent to the other player. And that's what this is. So I get an OK and the other player gets a message, the other player folded. So the next thing to do is to link this up with some nostr client code. And unlike the previous bot, this time I'll be monitoring direct messages. If we look back at the library that I'm using and we go to the examples, we see that we have an example of DM communication. That all seems well and good. However, there was one main complication I came across. Authentication of clients to relays isn't implemented. But the beauty of using an open protocol is we can simply look at this NIP42 and the documentation of how to implement it. So I have a callback function, and that will detect if the message type is an auth, and then I have a function handle auth messages, as is well documented in the open protocol. And then I have a callback function where I actually handle DM itself, and then I send it to my card game and I get the response text that I then send to the message sender. moving forward, I'd like to switch to using images of cards, but this is a good starting point. Now, putting it all together, I'm going to make a service unit so that the bots run on startup on this single board computer. In conclusion, this was a pretty straightforward, fun project, and hopefully people will actually use the bot. Until then, I won't actually know if it was a worthwhile endeavour.